Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah McIntyre. How are you doing? Little request, if you are listening to this on iTunes, could you do me the supreme favour of following the podcast and leaving a review for the podcast? If you're on Spotify, could you please leave me a rating? I know it's boring, it's so dull, but as you will know, just hit 100,000 downloads, over 100,000 downloads, and I only have 60 odd reviews. So please, I beg of you. I'm really trying to keep this podcast ad-free. I'm really trying. But it is a huge labour of love. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. And I have to pay money to do the podcast. I have to pay for hosting and for Canva to make the images and all sorts of things like that. And the way that social media works now, I have to pay to get my followers to see my posts. So it would really help if you could just take some of the heat off by sharing and reviewing and that kind of thing, which I know sucks, but I'm asking anyway. I've been listening to some other spiritual podcasts recently, and sometimes we are 7 or 8 minutes in and we haven't actually started with the topic. There's been so much advertising, and I really do not want that for this podcast. But if I have to, I will do. So there we go. Okay, so here we are, another podcast, another day, and I wanted to talk about the journey today, and the spiritual development journey, the mediumship journey, but just the journey of being a human being, a spiritually unfolding human being here on earth. And I wanted to talk about why is it that we seem to have the idea that when it is right for us, the path will be clear and bump free, and completely ignore the fact that we need to learn and we need to grow and we need to experience things to get us to where we want to be. So you guys hopefully by now know, but just in case you're new to the podcast, I'm going to reiterate it. I hope that you know that you are in control. You say what you want, you set your intention, and then spirit and the universe will conspire with you to help you get what it is that you're asking for. So we are the controllers, we are the creators, we are the directors, we are the drivers of the train, whatever you want to call it. You are in charge. The buck stops with you. We do not float through this existence like a piece of seaweed in the sea being bobbed around and we just see where we end up. That is not what it's about. We choose where we end up. Now, for some of you, you do just want to be bobbed around like a bit of seaweed in the sea, and that's absolutely fine as long as that's where you want to be. But for those of you that have got plans and dreams and hopes, and hopefully you've listened to the podcast on Tuesday and you've started thinking, actually, I can move forward to what I want. Well, this is phase 2 of it. And phase 2 of it is understanding that you don't get from A to B with one clear straight line. You don't. And that spirit will bring you the experiences that you need to get you to where you need to be. There is nothing more disempowering, is there, than the idea that we should just arrive at our destination because we've asked for it from the spirit world. What an absolute crock. We have to get in alignment with it. We have to get the experiences that we need to be able to do what we want to do. You don't decide to be a spiritual guru one day and have a massive download with all the information that ever was and ever will be about spirituality. You don't need to integrate it, work through it, process it, put it into your life, put it into practice. It's just there and then you suddenly start teaching. That doesn't work, does it? But then again, we still have these funny ideas that seem to think that that's how it's going to be. And that's not how it's going to be. So I think I'm pretty good at sharing the highs and the lows with you guys. There's been some whingy podcasts this year, hasn't there? I've let you know that sometimes being a medium sucks. It absolutely sucks. I always say to students when they're working with me, you have to love it. Because if you don't love it, why on earth would you put yourself through the pain of the spiritual development journey for mediumship? Why would you? Just don't do it. But I think all of us, whether we want to be a medium or not, we sometimes forget that we need to learn, that we need to evolve and grow and understand, and that for most part, those lessons aren't going to be pretty and joyous. They're going to be difficult and press your buttons and push you, because that's what we need. And one of the things that I'm really seeing is just so many people that are stuck, waiting for permission, waiting to move forward, but they've only got their eyes on the big picture and they won't take the little steps forward just to get some momentum building and some things happening. So I am asking you to trust in your journey and to trust in the experiences that you've had that have led you to where you are. And obviously you guys know I'm taking December off, but I would like to set you some homework as we move into the end of this year. Are you still here? Did you turn off at homework? I would like you to reflect on this year and really go back through it. Sit with your diary or your calendar and go through everything you went through. Look through your photos on your phone. That's really good for bringing the energy of where you were at a moment. And sit with the moments. Do a year review. We often think about doing a life review when we move into the spirit world, that, you know, we get to the pearly gates or wherever the hell we end up, and God is there and the angels are there and they go, here we go, here's all the bits you got right, here's all the bits you got wrong. And actually, I think that there is a value in doing that as we go and not just waiting, running away from all of it and waiting. And I also know myself and my personality. I'm so busy sometimes with the hustle of where I want to be that I forget to look at where I've been. And it's such a crucial part of the journey. So what lessons did you learn this year? What did they teach you? How have you changed as a result of them? When I look at this year in demonstrating terms, I would love to tell you that most of the demonstrations have been good. I will tell you this. Every single one I've learnt something from. Every single one. Every single one, there's been something that triggered me, upset me, wasn't quite right, that I learnt from. Some of them were painfully, toe-curlingly, bum-puckeringly painful. And some of the lessons were just more, this isn't quite how I want it, this isn't what I want, but I've learnt. There's something really empowering in admitting that learning. Like when I stopped demonstrating at Chilham Village Hall, which is beautiful. It's the most beautiful village hall. It's gorgeous, but it's just always a bit of a difficult night there. Always a bit of a unmoving audience. It's always a little bit challenging. And I went there 3 times because it never syncs the first time with me. I always think it's me that's the problem. But now I just know. I know instantly whether a venue's going to work for me or whether it isn't. There's been lots of venues I've been to for one time this year that I won't be going back to. And I learnt that through trying to manoeuvre the audience and get things going and work with the energy of the space, and realising that that space wasn't for me. I learned that I need to communicate better with how things are working, and I adjusted my write-ups so that people understood who they were getting and what they were getting. I changed it from mediumship demonstration to an evening with Hannah McIntyre because I wanted people to know that they were going to be with me, and I'm not like other mediums. And if you've watched lots of mediumship demonstrations, I might not be the girl for you. This might not be what you want. Equally, you might be called to me for the style that I have, and that's good too. So I can see the unfoldment, the learning and the growth, and I know where I want to be with my demonstrating, but I can also see that I had to go through this path and this journey to get there. And I want to share with you the importance, I think, of being willing to get it wrong, to get it right. And I think that is something that we shy away from. And it's actually so crucial. So when you are evolving your mediumship, or when you are just trying to change your life, or you're just going through the quagmire that is existence, I hear you. We learn what we want mostly through what we don't want. We get that clarity in what we're asking for and what we want to create through the bits that don't sit right with us, that don't feel good, that don't resonate with us. And I've really learned this, and bless Amanda, she's got the patience of a saint, that woman. But from so many demonstrations with her where I'd be going, oh, it just wasn't quite right tonight, it wasn't quite right. And I've realised that for me, it's how it feels to me. It's the energy of it. I've accepted the limitations of what I can do with my mediumship. And that's good. I've accepted that this year. That podcast was recorded very recently in November. So in November, after a whole year of demonstrating at least 3 times a month, I now understand that there is a limit to what I can do. That you can point to somebody and you give them the right name, the right relationship, how they died, how they spent the last years of their life, how long they've been in spirit, and they will still go, nah, yeah, I suppose. And that's okay, because I've done my part. I've done the best that I can. And there's a freedom in accepting that. I feel excited that I've finally gone, okay, no, I really accept that was good mediumship. That's where I want to be. And still wasn't good enough for you? Well, okay, it was good enough for me. So there's so much there in the energy of it, isn't there? In the unfolding of it. But why is it that we expect when we're on the spiritual path that, and I've had this expectation, that spirit will only take me to good venues, that spirit will only get me the right audience, that spirit will only, I don't know, well, they'll make it easy, they'll make the path clear. And actually, let's define right audience, because as I said right audience, spirit was saying to me then, but the right audience is the audience that you learn from and you grow from. I want to learn. I don't want to rest on my laurels. I know that I've reached a certain standard in my mediumship that I can be proud of, but I also know that there is so much more I can do. And maybe I need some triggering, difficult audiences that are going to push me through that to help me move into the space where I want to be. We have to be unafraid to get it wrong, to ultimately get it right. And I've been working on doing names recently. Now, I'm really funny with names in mediumship, and you may know this. I don't like it when it's just completely random. And I've made it very clear to Spirit, if it's just going to be completely random, don't even bother giving it to me. If it's going to be their next door neighbour's cat's name, I'm not interested. It's got to be sort of relevant. It's got to be someone that's in spirit with them, or somebody that's in the family, close family, not distant cousin, lives abroad. What's the point in getting that name? So I've been working on my names, and one of the interesting things with that is you have to be in that space where you are willing to get it wrong, to get it right, because that's where your valves are open. And when you're learning a new skill in your mediumship, sometimes you will get it wrong because you're learning to interpret and receive that energy, and sometimes because you're reaching in it, you're not in a proper state of surrender, and sometimes your brain will bring random stuff up because that's being a human. And so when you're reaching for it and you're doing that, you will sometimes get it wrong. You will make names up. You will misinterpret things. And that's okay. But you have to be willing to do that to expand into a space where it's correct. You can't only do it and only want it to be good and right and perfect, because then you're still controlling it and you're still restricting it. You have to be willing to get it wrong to get it right. And it's the same with our journeys. Spirit are not going to give you a list of instructions and stages to pass to get where you want to be. They will let you learn where you want to be. They will let you experience where you want to be so that you can grow from it. That's the fun of it. We're not here to just be like, duh, zombie human, following the path as it's set out. We're here to learn and experience. So allow yourself to get it wrong. Allow yourself to make mistakes. go for something that you think is going to be brilliant and then realize that it doesn't work for you at all. Allow yourself to feel this sort of embarrassment of trying it differently and it not quite working, but there might be a little bit of it that you want to keep, or a little bit of it that you need to understand, and allow that. It's so important. It's so important to allow yourself the journey. So as you are looking back over this year and where you've been this year, flicking through your photos, looking through your calendar, whatever you want to do, can you see how it has given you the clarity in where you want to be? Can you see how it's helped you pull through the fog to give you a stronger idea? And don't shy away from the bits that went wrong. Sit with them. What are they teaching you? What are they telling you? How are you growing? How are you changed as a result? Because that will be also part of the learning. We don't just learn in the good stuff. I'm not going to sit here for the rest of this podcast and give you a list of things that have gone wrong, but some of the examples I can give you are turning up to that venue and realising that I couldn't hold a retreat there because it wasn't clean enough, it wasn't nice enough, I didn't want to be in that space, and being empowered enough now to be able to say to them, it's not where I want to be, can I have a refund? Whereas the old me would have gone, oh no, I can't do that. And funnily enough, as I stepped into that energy and I did that and changed the retreat venue for next year, I've then had the London show that I was booked in for March. They're just not getting back to me and it's annoying me. And my brain kept saying, be patient, Hannah, you're an impatient person. But I was getting annoyed and I was thinking, you know what? I'm super busy. I've paid you a lot of money. You're not getting back to me. I can't start selling tickets. I think I emailed them 7 times before I just went, I'm done. And I emailed them and said, I want to cancel my booking. And I'm going to find a better venue in London. And do you know what? Straight away, I found a better venue in London. Straight away. I'm going up to have a look at it. It's so funny how you think that these things are trials or frustrations you have to live with, and it's the universe saying, no, it's not right. Or you need more clarity. This is what you need to know. Or you're not asking for the thing that's really going to make you happy. So let's show you a little bit. It's a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle, life, isn't it? And we're putting all the pieces in, but we don't know what the picture's going to be. And every piece you get just gives you a bit more clarity. And then once that vision comes into its fullness, you've got that clarity, you move forward with it, and then you start another puzzle, because we're never done. We're never satisfied, are we, with what we've got, and nor should we be. So I look over at my list of things that I wanted to manifest for this year. And I see sell-out events that go brilliantly and help people. Well, they have sold out. They have helped people. And they've gone brilliantly in the learning sense, in the growth for next year sense, in the development as me as a performing, entertaining medium and what I want to do with it. So I'm going to tick all of those, even though I've had some disasters. Even though there's been problems, even though there's been nights I've come away in tears from, because that's the journey. It's not supposed to be good all the time. I've got, I haven't manifested the money I want. Come on, Spirit, we've got 6 weeks. I'm looking at that list. Where's that? Hopefully it's coming. But yeah, I mean, I'm still not in a profitable space with my business. I'm still learning and growing and investing for next year. So yeah, fingers crossed something will happen there. Please, universe, but not yet. It's not happened yet. But equally, maybe I needed to refine myself and get into a stronger space so that I can earn the money that I want to earn, or indeed anything would be good. Now, I had 100,000 followers and I've had 100,000 downloads of the podcast, which I didn't even ask for, because at the beginning of this year I didn't I was getting 40 downloads a month. would never have even thought this was possible. So I'm going to take that one. Better evidence, connection and mediumship. Yeah, definitely. Maintain peace, health and vibrancy. No, utter fail, but that's been my choice. I've worked myself into the ground. But maybe if I take December off, by the time Christmas rolls around, I'll be able to say, yeah, I've managed it. So I can see what I wanted, and I can see that they're moving me towards some of these things. And I think I've had amazing growth this year. Amazing growth, but it's not all been comfortable. And a lot of it has been painful, but helped me to understand more clearly what it is that I want. So there. Where are you not allowing yourself the journey? Where are you so afraid of getting it wrong that you will never allow yourself to get it right? Where are you restricting yourself with this desire of being correct, being right, getting it right, it being perfect? And how can you just start to let that go so you can celebrate where you've been and see the growth ahead? That, I think, is where they want us to work. That's where they want us to focus. Before we get into January's busy vibes of growth and sowing the seeds and getting things ready for a year ahead, as we draw this one to a close and we sit in the energy of reflection and understanding, it's really so vital to look at where you've been and look at what you wanted at the start of this year and see. Now, if you are one of those people that is listening to this and snarling and saying, well, I haven't got anything that I asked for at the beginning of this year, then I would suggest that you focus on yourself for a bit and your own energy, and you allow energy to build within you. Because sometimes when we're so weighed down by life and its experiences and its difficulties and the hardships of it, it becomes like a shell, but that shell cuts us off from our own soul, our own inspiration and the spirit world. So your work, first of all, is to put down the shell. And I am going to be doing a how to manifest podcast with the spirit world that's sort of started, the seeds have started to come in for that, and I'll be recording that before the end of this year, so it will give you a bit of information about how we can make next year an even better one for you, or a better one for you. So it's a journey. So whether it's your mediumship or whether it's just in your life, your job, your human stuff, don't restrict yourself. Allow yourself to experience, experiment, play. And the more you do that, the more you will open yourself up to spirit and the universe and the energy that gathers around you, and the more that you will be able to create. But it's not about getting it right all the time. I was talking to Amanda yesterday, and I was saying, when I first started teaching, I tried so hard to control it. This was years ago now, but I would write lesson plans. I had a book of lesson plans, and I would decide that, this is what we were doing. And then the first person would arrive, and I would hear my spirit guide saying, we're not doing what you thought we were doing. This is what we're doing. And if I ever tried to do a meditation that I'd pre-planned every stage, it had like a hollowness to it. It didn't have a flow. It didn't have the magic. And I had to learn to surrender my humanness into a place of trust with spirit, and that vulnerability of knowing that people were turning up and that I didn't know what the lesson was, but we would trust and it would come. But that made me a better teacher because it allowed spirit to blend with me and work with me. But I had to go through that process. I had to sit there and read aloud a meditation that I'd written on bits of paper and go and learn that it wasn't right so that I could evolve and grow with it. And that's what we have to be allowing ourselves. So enjoy your year review homework. See what you have achieved. Let me know your wins. I would love to know. Tag me in social media or drop me an email and just tell me what you've achieved this year that you set out. And apologies if you can hear my tummy rumbling. It's lunchtime. I'm very, very hungry. But let's see where we can go and what we can do next year by allowing ourselves gratitude for the lessons we have learned this year. Thank you very much for listening. Take care, and I will catch up with you again soon.